Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how I disassemble my Onewheel. I got here the Pint X, but the Pint X and the Pint are exactly the same. And here I'm also going to put in the airtag, as you can see in the video. So let's get started. So the way I look at it, there are 3 layers to tear down completely the Onewheel. And let's start with the first layer, that is the 2 bottom bumpers, the front and the back, and the 2 top foot pads, again the front and the back, and the frame or the fender that you have around your wheel at the top. And to take all of them off, the only bit I'm using is a bit Torx 20. Now in my case, you can see I have a cloth bag on the right side. It's actually a toolkit, a complete toolkit for the Onewheel, and it has all the bits and all the tools you need to tear down the Onewheel completely, include the battery hub and the engine. And I actually use it like an emergency kit. I take it with me everywhere because it has everything necessary for any emergency or any service needed. I'll just put down a link in the description in case you guys need it. And as you can see here, sometimes, well, my Onewheel is a bit dusty and used, and sometimes some of those screws are clogged and plugged in there. So I just shake it and give it another twist, and I keep on trying until I take them all out. And on the top side, we have just 8 screws. All of them are small type, the same screws as you have at the bottom side, the small ones. And 2 for every foot pad and 4 for the fender or the frame, whatever you got there. And after I take down all the screws, the one at the bottom, the ones at the top, I can actually take down now the foot pads and slide out. Sometimes it's really stuck in there, so just shake it, move it a little bit until you get those bumpers, the front and the back, outside. Now the front bumper has those sensors, and those sensors are actually electronic and they're connected to the controller. To disconnect them, you can see there is like the cable is screwed in there, so just gently open that screw and then you can unplug the cable and take down the front foot pad. So here is the controller, and the bottom side is the battery hub. And here we have the frame or the fender in your case that we're taking off as well. And here we completed the first layer tear down from the Onewheel, moving on to the second layer. So moving on to the second layer, we're gonna separate the battery hub and the controller from the rails. To do so, we're gonna use the same bit to take off the screws on the top and the bottom side that attaches the battery and the controller. And there is a bigger bit, I don't remember the name, but I'll put it down in the description, that detach the engine from the rail. The engine, of course, it's inside the wheel, it's in the middle, the 2 big screws, as you can see right here. Now, when you detach those screws, you have to make sure you go in. It's a bit shaky, so you have to come in 90 degree, and it can be very tight in there, especially if you've been using your Onewheel for a while. So come in a 90 degree, and it's crucial. And you can see how I'm using here the force with the rail itself to create some leverage to open those screws. It's pretty tight, but it's possible. So we got one side out, one rail, and there we go with the second rail. Taking down the rails, actually I consider them like the second layer of the Onewheel, because this also requires a second beat, the different beat, and then it leaves you down with only the front controller and the battery hub and the engine itself. And then you have the last bit, a very unique one, a secured 5 points bit for the battery hub and the controller. Now in this video I will take down only the controller, but the controller and the battery hubs look exactly the same. After you take down those screws to open the controller, you will find the sealing, a rubber sealing for any water damage, and that's actually where I put down the AirTag. In this video I'm not opening the battery hub, but it looks exactly the same. It's the same process, and there is the same sealing for the battery hub. So there we go. After we open the controller, you can see actually that's where I placed my AirTag. I put it there with the duct tape. It actually holds tight in there. I didn't have any problem with it. And that's the rubber sealing. It's a bit difficult to fit it back in there, but just fit it as good as you can and just screw them, and it will squeeze the rubber in place and it will be good enough. So that's it. Now I'm actually just building everything back up. The same order, same screws and same places, from the third layer to the second, all the way to the first.